Hello, hello friends, welcome to this live stream. Hello friends, welcome to this live stream. Friends, welcome to this live stream. Friends, welcome to this live stream.
Da deleir bir uğraşı.
Have you joined the friends? Let's see who has joined us. Till now, we don't have anyone with us. So, hurry up, guys. Join this live stream as soon as you can so that we can start it well on time. Okay. Till now, we can see that no one has joined us, and it's very embarrassing for us and very regretful that no one has joined us till now. Here we have to discuss four main topics related to static routing, and one of them is the static routing, how we enable static routing in our configurations on our router, and we also learn how to apply this route summarization when we have multiple networks, contiguous multiple networks, and how we use longest prefix match while we are applying load balancing. And at the end, we have a topic related to default route. Whenever we don't have any route towards a network, then we need to forward the packet towards the default route. So today's lecture, we are going to discuss the same default route topic as well. So hurry up, guys! Join our live stream and help us to spread this free series of videos related to CCNA complete training. We are here to teach you. So hurry up, guys! Join our live stream and join us in our lectures. Uh,
पापा पापा रोटी खाएंगे पापा रोटी खाएंगे खाएंगे क्या नहीं खाएंगे पापा रोटी खाएंगे
नहीं चल रहा. Hello, guys. So we are here to teach you the static routing. In this static routing, we have to apply the static route to on the router whenever we are going to forward any packet from router to some other network. So here in this case, we are going to design a network of having three routers. Let's see how we apply this static routing on these three routers. Let's connect them. Okay, so we have connected the routers with the cross cable. Uh, Here on the one end of the router, we will connect a PC on this side and a PC on this side. Okay, so let's connect these PCs to the end routers, and yes. So here we have designed our network. This is very simple network. So let's wait for a while. Sorry for the disturbance. So here we have designed a network. This is very simple network, and let's decide some networks for this. Let's we have a network of 10.0.1.0 for this portion of the network with the subnet mask of 24, and for this portion we have a network of 10.0.2.0 and /24, and on this portion of the network we have the network address 10.0.3.0. Okay, and for this uh, portion of the network we have the network address 10.0.4.0. Okay, so here we have the simple networks. Let's see if anyone has joined us. Yes, we have one man from us. So you can see that we have developed a small network here, having three routers, and let's apply these IP addresses on the ports. So from this network 10.0.2.0, we have an IP address of 10.0.2.1 for this port and dot 2 for this port. Okay, and from this network 10.0.1.0 we have dot 1 for this port and dot 2 for this port. Okay, so you can see that we will apply these IP addresses for these ports, and from this IP address we will apply the port address as dot 1, and for the PC we will use the IP address as 10.0.4.10. Okay, good. So we will apply the IP address on this port as 10.0.4.1. Okay, so from this network address we will use the IP address of 10.0.3.1 for this port and 10.0.3.10 for this port. Okay, so we have designed a network and we have planned our network addresses accordingly. So now we will configure the port addresses with with these IP addresses which we have set just now. So for now I have zoomed in for you people to look at the network. Now I'll configure first router and its ports with the IP addresses as we have planned just now. So for this router I will enable, and let me remind you that if you are watching this live stream, please access this stream on your PCs or laptops so that you should be able to see the screen clearly, because we are unable to zoom these small commands, this CLI mode. So if you watch these videos on your laptop or your PCs, then it would be very useful for you. Okay, so let's configure the IP addresses on the ports of this router. Uh, Configure terminal interface gigabit Ethernet 0 by 0 by 0 for this port. Okay, for this port we are going to set the IP address, and the IP address is 10.0.1.0 is the network address, and for the port 10.0.1.1 for the port address, and 255.255.255.0 for the network address. So for sorry for this port we have planned the IP address as 10.0.1.2. Okay, so here you can see that we have dot 2 for this port. So I have pressed enter, no shutdown, and this port is now working. So for this port we are going to set the IP address from this network. So let's access the other port, which is interface gigabit ethernet 0 by 0 by 1, and the IP address for this port is 10.0.4.1 255.255.255.0. Okay, good. And no shutdown is the command to switch on the port. So for this router we have this is router 3. You can see that here, and let's give them the names as their uh, host names. This is R3, and now for this router we have router 2, so we give it a name as R2. So whenever we are going to call it, it would be easy for us to call this router as R2, router 2. So now we have accessed this router 2, and we are going to set the IP addresses on its interfaces. Yes, enable and configure terminal. Yes, uh, interface which one? Gigabit ethernet 0 by 0 by 1, and the IP address for this port is 10.0.1.1. Okay, so 255.255.255.0, and no shutdown. So you can see that we have switched on this port, and from this network address 10.0.1.1 we have applied this IP address on this interface. So both the interfaces are up, so they have changed their light from red to green. So now we will apply the IP address for the next interface, which is interface gigabit ethernet 0 by 0 by 0, and the IP address for this interface is 10.0.2.2, and the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, and no shutdown is the command to switch on the port. Yes, we have applied the commands on this port router as well. Good. So for this router we have to name it as R1, because this is the router 1 in our network. Okay, so now we are going to apply the IP addresses on the interfaces of this router. Enable configure terminal, and the interface connected to R2 is the interface gigabit ethernet 0 by 0 by 0, and the IP address is for this port is 10.0.2.1 255.255.255.0, and no shutdown is the command to switch on the port. So that you can see that once both the ports are switched on, then in that only in that case the lights would be turned into green. Okay, uh, good. So we will access the second interface of this router, which is gigabit ethernet 0 by 0 by 1, and the IP address for this port is 10.0.3.1. Okay, from this network address we have chosen the IP address as 10.0.3.1 for this interface. Okay, so the IP address is this, and the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, and no shutdown is the command to switch on the port. Good. So we have configured the IP addresses on the interfaces of all three routers. Now let's apply the IP address. Let's set the IP address of on these PCs as well. Uh, if we go on to the user manual 10.0.3.10, and the subnet mask is 255.255.0, and the default gateway would be the IP address of this interface, which is connected to the router. Okay, which is 10.0.3.1, and let's close this. Now let's apply the IP address of this PC as well, which is 10.0.4.10, and 255.255.255.0, and the default gateway is 10.0.4.1. 1. Okay, so the IP address of this interface would be acting as the default gateway for this PC. Okay, so here we have set the IP addresses on our network. So now let's let's see the status of the routers and the routing table before we apply the static routing. Okay, so today let's see the status of these routers before setting the IP address, before setting the static routing on these routers. So for this purpose we will use the command show IP route. Okay, so you, from this command you can see that we have two directly connected networks which are 10.0.1.0 with this net router. You can see 10.0.1.0, and the second one is 10.0.4.0. So these two networks are connected directly with this router. So till now its routing table is giving us only two route networks which are directly connected to this router. And for this router, if we want to see the routing table of this router as well, show IP route, and with this command we can see that only two networks are connected directly with this router, 10.0.1.0 and 10.0.2.0. So here we have not applied any static routing or any dynamic routing on these routers till now. Now let's apply and learn how we can apply the static routing on these routers. Okay, friends, let's see who has joined us, and if anyone has any queries, you can ask in comments. Okay, you can send your queries in chat. Okay, uh, so let's apply the static routing on these routers. Okay, brothers, from this router, let's let me briefly describe the something about the static routing. The static routing is the process in which we are going to tell this router, the router 3, the paths towards the other networks which are not directly connected to this router. Okay, so to define or to implement the static routing on this router R3, we need to understand which are the route networks which are far away or not directly connected to this router. So only two northern networks are directly connected to this router, and these two networks, 10.0.2.0 and 10.0.3.0, these two networks are not directly connected to this router. So we have to set the path for these networks. Whenever any packet arrives from this PC on this router, the packet should have, the router should have the path. If the packet is destined for this PC, so this router should have the path to send the packet towards this PC. Okay, so in that case we need to apply the static routing and set the path for these two routers. And let me tell you that you can see that these two networks, 10.0.2.0 and .3.0, are directly are connected to this router via this port, the port of R2, and the port IP address is 10.0.1.1. Okay, so from with this port we are connected to these networks. So once we are going to set the path for these networks, we need to set the IP address of this interface as the next hop IP address. So it means that whenever the packet will move from this router towards these networks, they will have to use the path and which the IP address of this interface will come in the way. Okay, so let's set the static route for these two networks on this router. Configure terminal, and the command for the static route is IP route, and the network address to which we are going to send our packet, and the network which is far away from our router. So the network is 10.0.2.0. Okay, and the default gateway, oh sorry, subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. And now we need to set the next hop IP address. Next hop IP address would be the IP address of this interface through which we are going to access these routers. Okay, so the IP address of this interface is 10.0.1.1. And let's press enter. So it means that we have set the root for this network 10.0.2.0 via this port. So okay, so one of the static root has been successfully entered into the routing table of R3. And for the second network, if I press the up arrow key, you can see the same command has been typed automatically, and I only need to change the IP network address of the second network, which is 10.0.4.0, and everything will remain the same as because the uh, this network would also be accessible via this port. So press enter, and we have set the route for both of the networks via this port. So let's go outside and let's examine the routing table. Show IP route. You can see that we have the IP, we have the network address for this route, and via this port. Okay. Oh, sorry, we have set the route for this network because this is directly connected. So we need to set the IP address of this, the network address of this network, which is 10.0.3.0. So we need to, we have made a mistake here, and we have applied the static root command for this network, which is already directly connected to this router. So no problem. We are going to again in the global configuration mode, config terminal, and here I will type the command again. Here you can see that with the usage of up arrow key I have directly accessed the command, and here now I have changed the network address, which is exactly 10.0.3.0. So yes, I have pressed the enter button. Now we are successful, and if I check the routing table, you can see that now both the networks are directly are successfully added into the routing table, and S shows the static route. Okay, the S means that we have set the static route on these networks. uh, yes, and on this router, as we can see that we have two networks directly connected, 10.0.2.0 and 1.0 directly connected to this R2. And for these networks which are far away, which is 10.0.4.0 and 10.0.3.0, we need to set the static route for both of these networks. So let's apply configure terminal, and for this network 10.0.3.0 IP route 10.0.3.0 255.255.255.0, and the next hop IP address would be the IP address of this interface, because we are going to access this interface, this network via this interface. So 10.0.2.1 is the next hop IP address, and for this network we are going to access this network via this port. So if I press the up arrow key, you can see yes, here I only need to change 4 from 3, and the IP address of sorry, I need to use the arrow keys to move across. And for this network 10.0.4.0, I need to use the next of IP address of this interface as 10.0.1.2, 10.0.1.2 as the next of IP address. And yes, we have set the routes, static routes, show IP route, and you can see that both of the networks are directly are added into our routing table via static routing. So yes, we have applied the static routing on this router as well, and now on this router We have two directly connected networks, 10.0.2.0 and 3.0 are directly connected, and 10.0.1.0 and 4.0 are far away networks from this router. So we need to access these networks via this interface as next hop IP address whenever we are going to send any packet from R1 to other routers. Configure terminal, and the command for static route is IP route 10.0.1.0 255.255.255.0, and the next hop IP address would be 10.0.2.2. Okay, good. And because for this network we are going to use this port, and the IP address of this port is 10.0.2.2. Okay, so press the enter button, and for the other network which is 10.0.4.0, and for that network we are also going to use the same port, and press the enter button. Yes, you can see that show IP route, and you can see that we have two networks via static routing and two with the directly connected networks. So here we have applied the static routing on these networks. Uh, yes, this was the implementation of static routing. Now you can see that if I want to send any packet from this PC to this PC, first try it would be failed, and for the next try it should be successful, because the paths have been developed successfully, and now the packet has been failed again. I don't know what is the problem. Yes, now it is successful. You can see that we have successfully sent our packet from this PC to this PC. It means that we have our network is now fully functional with the static routing. I hope you have learned this concept of static routing, and you will apply this in your upcoming videos. So this was all about static routing, and if you want to practice and learn more about it, you need to connect multiple routers, 4, 5, 6 or 7 routers, and make a big network of them, and apply the static routing. uh, Remember that only the directly connected networks would be picked up by the router itself, and for the rest of the networks you need to set the static routing or the default routing, and whatever you apply on your router you would see that your router will work according to that. So this was all about static routing. Now let's tell you something about the route summarization or the route summary. Route summarization is the process. Route summarization. Route summarization means that let me tell you that if we have a contiguous networks like here we have a 10.0.1.0, 2.0, 3.0. It means that these networks are contiguous, so they are one after another. So it means that when we are going to apply the route on these networks, we don't need to use the network addresses of all these routers. Instead we can use a summary route for all of them. So if we have a route contiguous networks like 10.0.1.0, like here 10.0.2.0 and 10.0.3.0, and also we have 10.0.4.0. So for these networks we can use the summary route, and the summary route would be as 10.0.0.0. So this network address 10.0.0.0 can be used as summary route for instead of all these networks. So as I was typing all the network addresses one after another, so in that case if we want to save our time and we want to minimize the effort of network administrators, so in that case we can use the summary route. It will also help us to avoid extra overhead, and it will also help the routers to use a minimum of their memories to keep the network addresses in their routing table. So if we use this network address instead of all these four networks, so one network address will keep a small space in the memory of the router, uh, while if we use the four network addresses in our routing table, so it means that it will help us to avoid extra overhead on routers as well as on the network administrator. Okay, so this was about the route summarization, and yes, I will explain in the next lecture about the route summarization, about the default route. The default route is the route in which, if we don't have the destination network address in our network, so in that case, what we do with the packet? So in that case, the packet need to be sent somewhere, and in that case we used to forward that packet on a default route or on the outside of our network towards the ISP. So ISP knows where to send the packet, and this would be the headache of ISP, not us. So in that case, we use the default route, and if I see that if I say that if I connect, you can see that if I connect, let me, if I have, yes, you can see that if I have this kind of cloud, or this is the network or the internet, you can see. So if I want to, if I have a packet and I don't have a path for that packet, so in that case I will send that packet towards this cloud or the internet. So the default route would be used in that case to forward the packet outside of the network if we don't have a path for that network, for that packet. Okay, so this was about the default route and the route summarization. I hope you have got the idea, and in the next lecture I will explain each and everything in detail. So till then, please stay tuned, and if you have learned anything and if you have any query, you can ask in comments, and please share this video to your friends and family, and so that they can learn. And if you have any query, you can ask. Please subscribe to our channel, and I hope you will join us in our next class. Thank you very much. Bye bye.